settle with because Genja doesn't really play Caitlyn at all. Banning out Thresh as well there on the other side. World League banning out Annie and Lee Sin for the start.
This actually leaves Leona as the only support left of the original like trifecta of supports that arise this season. I wonder if Eddie is looking for a Morgana pick here because the Chinese regions doesn't normally play it. You have to remember that the Chinese team have barely practiced, if at all practiced, on the 4.3 patch. So everything they do and build is based on speculation. So we have to cut them some slack. European teams have been playing on this for 1.5 weeks, so they're used to how these champions change. And it's a pretty big patch change for supports. The entire landscape of itemization is changed on the bot lane. But we see Gambit picking up a Lulu first pick, and that's a really solid choice in my opinion.
Lulu first pick, and surely going to go into the hands of Alex from this one. I mean, Darien's...
Could never know. I'm done predicting Darien's champions.
Yeah, I don't see Darien playing Lulu in this one. We'll see about that one. World Elite actually locking in, no qualms, very fast lock-in on the Renekton there.
Yeah, Renekton's just a solid top lane champion. He does well in the Renekton-Shyvana matchup. And in these like offline tournament matches, you want to put the early pressure on the opponent. Cassidy makes it through. This indicates that both teams are fine with it going through the pick phase. So I'd be surprised if Gambit suddenly looks to pick it up here. If they do it, it'll be on the last rotation. Same for WE. If they want to pick up Cassidy, it'll be on the last rotation. Thing about the Lulu is, given the fact that Thresh and Annie are banned out, and I'm not sure about what the support player for WE plays, if his Leona isn't too stellar, we might see Edward and Lulu support and let Alex maybe try and bait out a counter pick.
Well, it looks like Gambit are going to be locking in their jungler and top lane here. Aatrox, a champion that Darien... we were talking about Lulu and Darien's style. I think Aatrox fits Darien a lot better because you've got that GA there built in, and he likes to play, okay, jump in, do the damage, and get out with a kill or without a kill. Obviously, a lot safer than a lot of top lane champions these days as well.
And out of these 3 picks, we can already see some synergy emerge. Aatrox jumping in, getting the Lulu ulti, and just getting really tanky and slowing people around him, as well as Eve flanking from the side, putting an AoE slow on the enemy team. This is already something that we can see is very Gambit-esque, Diamond Pucks goes along the side, Darien just goes in, everyone's like, why is this guy jumping in again? Boom, Eve from the side, and you have a team fight going on, and immediately you're fighting. Good response, it seems though, by WE, by going as well. They say, okay, you want to fight? We'll fight you. Tanky support in Leona. VIII can go to the back line and get the AD carry. If not, just lock one target down. It's really hard to gank a Renekton as well with an Eve. So, and yeah, now we get to the point. Is he considering Soraka, or did he just play you? Just so he can get more hype out of his
probably
picks.
played me, let's be honest. He's Edward, the king of trolls. We did see a Vi coming in there. I'm wondering if we're actually going to see a Yasuo maybe for them by the end of it. But if we look, Leona in there, Morgana support is a massive probability in this one. Gambit at this point looking for AD carry and support. We do see that obviously Caitlyn banned out, not really a champion anyway that Genja plays. Lucian already gone away from him. Where is he going to go?
For the composition, Sivir would fit. I think Sivir Morgana is a good lane. It's hard to play against Leona Lucian if the Leona knows how to play against the Morgana. I actually like what he does with Varus. I think that's a good fix for this lane. Morgana binds into Varus ulti, Morgana binds into Varus poke on lane. Very potent. If Morg misses a binding, her zone drops on lane, which means she has to back off, which means AD carry has to back off. Varus has 2 spells with which he can farm from a pretty long range, so a good distance, put in between the enemy bot lane. Leona can't commit on the Varus. I'm kind of worried for Genja if Black Shield is ever down. He's going to get blown up by Vi's ulti and by the Solar Flare from Leona. However, look at the Black Shield, what it can do, what work it can do for Gambit. It can block 3 or 4 like essential crowd control effects. It can block 2 of them at the same time most of the time, unless it's the Gragas explosive cask. Well, then the Black Shield is gone. But it's definitely a really good pickup in my opinion for Edward.
I talked about Yasuo, the fact that with the synergy there of Vi, but against Lulu, not the best of lanes anyway. Definitely going to take a lot of damage, although we have seen that the Yasuo from the Chinese teams has been particularly good. In this case though, it will actually be Gragas coming in, a much safer lane there for sukiM.
We made the comment that all the Chinese teams were going for full AD composition so far, so I do like that they pick up this AP component. We saw how strong Gragas gets towards the late game and when Pekka played it. Those casks at the start of the game, they weren't going all too well, but once he figured out when to throw them, and he got more AP every time he learned his lesson, eventually once he hit 3 or 4 people, he was deciding these team fights on his own with just one barrel, and it's just such a strong pick, and I'm a big fan of Gragas.
But how does that work out in the lane against Lulu? Who's going to have the edge in that one?
I'm not an expert on it, but I feel both of them can do fine. Lulu can poke Gragas down, but Gragas, whenever Lulu goes in, if she ever goes too close, a body slam could prove fatal if the jungler shows up. It's going to be tricky with the Evelyn, but I think Gragas can keep his distance well enough and be somewhat safe enough to avoid those ganks. He has a gap closer and a flash to get away. Renekton is really hard to gank. I really like if an Eve can get behind a Leona and go in as Leona goes aggressive, so Diamondprox might want to look at the bot lane. However, Evelyn, while doing a lot of damage, is pretty weak if she ganks and she gets turned on. So if she gets spotted before she gets into the lane in the right position, Evelyn's very prone to losing her double buffs immediately. So I don't see Diamond actually falling for that. He's a really good jungler, but it can happen. So Diamond's at risk of ganking any of these lanes, so you have to be careful.
Gambit here, you see there AlexItch on your screens, and well, it's the case for Gambit. They've done it so many times. Day one, they come out in the group stage, they somehow scrape through the group with like 20 seconds faster win and slower loss than everyone else, I think it was, or something like that in Katowice here last year. This time around a little bit different though. If they lose this game, they are out of the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship. No chance to claim themselves a second title. Of course, they won the Intel Extreme Masters World Championship back in 2012, but we are getting into game. It's Gambit versus Team WE. Repo, who are you favoring for this one?
Given the compositions, I like both teams, honestly. It's going to depend on a lot how teams survive and outscale the early game. Looking definitely at that Renekton matchup up top, how is he going to do? Thing I'm wondering about is Gambit going to go for their typical Gambit invade? It works really well against melee supports. If you don't know what the typical Gambit invade is, it would be Genja and Edward running to the enemy blue buff, trying to stop the jungler there, just harass them for a little time. And meanwhile, the Diamond would solo one of his buffs, and this could lead into like a buff advantage or a quicker jungle speed for Diamondprox. Evelyn is one of the quickest junglers, can solo red as well and just clean out on her own. And you can basically not leash her on Evelyn, and then you don't give away against the enemy, like where is she gonna go, and that's really good. But they're going in for a little invade, it seems.
Oh, Genja needs to get away from this one. All 5 men there from WE pushing down towards that tri-brush, and
not so efficient.
Yeah, as they see Genja there, they will in fact start to back away from that one.
And see, this is Gambit is reacting really well. They say, okay, you're putting 5 people in the bottom side of the map. I don't really have too many wards on me, but I'll just walk into your jungle. Diamondprox, cover my exit. You're invisible anyways. If they're not here in time, a lot of these later games in the LCS, people have been doing leashless buffs, which means it doesn't give the information away against the enemy. But WE is reacting, and this Renekton is just here to scout if Gambit is starting on a red buff. That's all he's doing. And scouts them out, and now they have to fall back. So good reaction play by both teams.
Actually, sukiM is moving forward towards the enemy blue. Here, specifically the supports, we see that Spell Thieves has been picked up there by Morgana. Doran's shield on the other side for Leona.
I like both items. This is what I would do in both of the matchups. Good body slam coming on Alex, just putting a little of the aggression on. Right now, they don't have their wards, WE, but they don't need them because they know where the jungler starts. They know where he's going to.
Well, there we see already a bit of action between the 2 AD carries. Edward taking some damage in there as well down on this bottom lane. Don't forget, if you're just joining us here for the start of this one, this is the losers match. Both these teams losing out in round 1. And basically, you have to win at this stage. Actually, sukiM going very, very low here. Diamond coming in. No ignite, of course, though, and not able to actually finish off.
See, I want to point out a couple of things about bot lane, about how they win the push. But actually, as we see this, Conan's going in with Xenoblade, but he gets back shielded and then turned by Genja.
Not too much damage at this stage of the game. There's a piercing arrow actually coming through, and Conan falling a little bit low, but we can see the Gambit going for this red buff. We saw some very early wards coming down as the red buff resetting itself there, getting a bit of a heal off, and Diamond is going to take a little bit more time to finish that one off, but does manage to pick up the red. Meanwhile, Ruo is going over towards Gambit's
he has to be quick because on sukiM on the mid lane, so that's good for Gambit especially.
And see red buff picked up on the other side for for WE. You see that one smited away, and actually Ru just waiting around and knowing that Diamond is going to come over and actually check that one. In the end, finishes off, and there is Darien up in the top lane. Ignite actually burning away. Alex getting a bit of harassment there from Ruo, the jungler of WE.
Conan's level 2 and he's roaming around the map, and I'm not a big fan of that. Diamond spots him out, he's just going to poke him down. This is really bad for him.
And it's going to be a lot of damage coming in as well. We see the stun actually falling, but Diamond able to chase down that haze spike, doing good damage on towards Conan. And he's going to have to just walk off behind the turret, not having to use his flash though, which could be crucial.
See, on bot lane, I try to make a point, but people kept finding and interrupting me. I actually don't like the way that Gambit played his early lane. I would have liked a little more push coming out of the Morg, pull forced. Leona, in my opinion, should have started with E as well, because it's very rare that we see supports actually getting hit by the Leona stun, but it ended up happening. So Gambit was a little bit behind, more than they should be on that lane early, but then the WE support started roaming, and that's really bad.
Oh, we're going to see the pushing on towards Darien. Actually uses his flash. There is a Bloodwell pop, but will they be able to finish off straight away afterwards? Comes back up with not much health, and there is first blood coming down for Team WE.
Yeah, that's a really good gank. Lane gank, Renekton stun, VIII connects their Q. Really well played. They got him down, got his Bloodwell, just camped him. He wasn't in tower range just yet, and that's just very well executed, well-timed gank. And I think that's going to be crucial to get Renekton rolling, because if you do that a few times, then Renekton is going to start 1v1ing the Aatrox over and over and over, and that's going to draw a lot of pressure to top. And yeah, W needs that, because right now their bottom lane is behind.
And Flash, of course, was burnt there by Darien as well. We do see that WeiXiao taking quite a lot of damage there behind that turret, that piercing arrow coming through. WeiXiao going super low, not quite being taken down, but he has to be very, very careful how that one goes. And with that pressure, Gambit's bottom lane is going to be headed back. A good lead that Genja has on his first buy.
And see, this is how a good jungler wins the bottom lane without it being close. He goes for the enemy red, which forces the enemy jungler to go for your red, which forces in turn your support to try and help him, because the W support roam to assist his jungler on the red, but at the same time he leaves his lane open, gets behind on lane. Because Diamond Prox makes an aggressive move on the left side of the map, the right side of the map gets punished for that, because W has to react to it. And this is just good play by Gambit, and you see the bot lane is ahead, but that's not necessarily all to their credit. It's just a team effort.
Well, we see a big roam once again coming in towards this mid lane. Actually, Alex trying to do the damage there on towards sukiM, but a good Zenith blade landed. There is VIII coming in as well. Alex falling very, very low. Surely going to get finished off here. Conan picks up the kill.
Yeah, he was holding his Ignite for the latest moment possible. He didn't want to take that kill, but he had to. So the initial take of the Ignite that he costed at the very end took down that kill. I really like the flash Zenith blade he did there. That was spot on. That was a good catch. And Alex got a little unlucky, almost sniped the Gragas there at the edge, but it just wasn't enough. And that's the roam paying off. You know, earlier the roam didn't pay off, this time it did. W taking risks, and this time they're paying off.
Good stuff, and that's going to allow Conan to actually pick himself up. The workings of that Sightstone, the Ruby Crystal coming in for him. This bottom lane, though, still behind in CS. Indeed, suffering from those couple of roams that Conan has brought in. Did get that kill on the last move towards that mid lane, but we'll see how that actually impacts this bottom lane. Actually, Genja going to be forced away there. Tries to throw down the slow. There's the Zenith blade coming in. Good binding comes out from Eddie. Will they be able to actually finish off Conan, though? He's pretty deep in there, but with that Ruby Crystal, he's pretty tanky already.
And that was a really good game read by WeiXiao, because he was about on the verge of getting frozen if he didn't have pressure on the lane, but he dashed in, knew the creeps would block the binding, and he knows that he can 1v1 in a burst outrated Varus, and he backed off immediately. Conan, however, misread that as an all-in. Went in, sure he dealt some damage, but he get a little poke, but you see how much room of error he has to spare. He's still 80% of HP. So this is why if the lane ever gets behind the Morgana Varus lane, they didn't trouble against Leona Lucian. But right now, they're doing pretty okay for themselves.
Dark binding coming down there. Alexic actually is going to be moving away from this mid lane. Just wants to get that ward down, actually spotting the pink ward, as you say, and will be able to actually take that one out. So nice little bit of vision denial coming in from Alexic. He's slightly behind in that mid lane, but we'll see how that one all develops. Up until now, Alex dying that one time. We'll see how that all goes down later on.
Again, just having a harder time poking down WeiXiao right now, because he has his Vampiric Scepter finished, so he can lifesteal up after every poke. And Conan surprisingly is getting back into this laning phase. That roam really paid off for him, getting enough experience of that kill. If that would have failed, that would be very detrimental to the laning phase. But he seems to be somewhat on equal level. I think Genja and Edward are going to hit level 6 first. But before that happens, we see Gank on top lane.
We are going to see the dive coming in on towards Darien. Going to get knocked up there by VIII. Bloodwell is available once again, but he doesn't have much health, that's for sure. And actually, it's going to be CaoMei that goes in right onto him. There is the knockup coming in. CaoMei tanking up the turret. He's actually going to fall from this one. So Darien, despite going down, does pick up the first kill for Gambit.
This seems a little greedy by World Elite, but I just want to point out one thing. Darien's Bloodwell came up the second Renekton stun, not earlier. I just checked it in a miniature replay here. 1 second before the actual stun landed and they committed into the all-in, Darien got his revive passive back up. Else that would have been one of the cleanest dives in this game so far.
Little bit too late from WE. That is the second death, of course, for Darien. And not only that, he's a good 22 CS behind at this point, having a little bit of a hard time in that top lane against the Renekton. Meanwhile, Diamond is moving down towards his bot lane. We've just seen a bit of a ping on towards the ward there. I'm not sure that they know that Diamond's around, but either way, Diamond not seeing an opportunity is going to be backing off.
They have to be careful anyways. They're facing 2 level 6s without a solar flare. That's going to be, and then no flash on Leona. And the stacked minion wave, there's no way they can fight that. However, Rue is trying to sneak a Drake here, and it might just work.
Well, he's all alone on that one. There is that one ward from Gambit inside of the death bush. Yeah, they're not going to spot this one. Pretty much a free dragon here for WE. Nice little sneak coming in. There is a smite, and that will put them 800 gold in the lead.
That's pretty impressive.
And on this bottom lane, actually, Alex starting to move down. They're like, yeah, let's.
There you're gonna find out.
I've got a great idea,
guys. This is the worst feeling.
Let's do dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of gone. At least he got a pink ward though.
Yeah, right now they're trying to find out because pink wards are everlasting. Usually you could at least see how long that pink ward has been there, and usually it's placed by the jungler that does the Drake. So, but right now they're everlasting, so you have no idea of like backtracing when they did that Drake. So you have a rough timer in your head. If World Elite plays this smart now, they will just have the next dragon as well because they have the timing control on it.
Oh, this bottom lane, Genja continues to rack up that CS lead. Gone for a double Doran's Blade start on this one. You see on the other side the Vamp Scepter picked up for WeiXiao. Meanwhile in the top lane, Darien, no Bloodwell available. Obviously did die earlier on, picking up a kill. And in fact, Gambit's only kill up until now. And actually he's going to dive in towards CaoMei. Diamond's actually off to the side, and this should be a kill surely for Gambit. He's going to try and push through, and there is VIII coming in straight on towards Diamond. As all the battery comes down, Diamond is actually going to fall from that one. Expertly baited in by CaoMei.
And this is because CaoMei is so far ahead that he wins the trade already, and they're just going to dive Darien here again.
Yeah, he's going to have a few problems with this one. Slice and Dice, though, comes around. Actually, it was Ruo that was tanking up the turret, and that leaves them at 5-1. Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, a lot of damage coming on towards Edward. No kill, though.
Very impressive play on top lane. Because CaoMei was so far ahead on his Renekton, he could take the bad trade for a lot longer. He knew his VIII coming in. I'm sure he was surprised by Diamond procs, so the good thing is he backed out. Then he read the situation perfectly. He knew his jungler was coming in, and they turned on Eve. And you saw Eve is a strong damage jungler with a lot of damage potential, but you saw just how quick she dropped in a 2v1 scenario where VIII just locks her up. And this is World Elite kind of outscaling this top 2v2, and this Renekton is going to be a problem.
Going to or is already? That's a question on that one. 3-1-1. Tiamat already in there. And looking good here for WE. Meanwhile, down on the bottom lane, big wave of minions in there. Will they go for the turret at this point? Edward just coming back in towards that bottom lane now. Upgrade up towards that Frostfang. Got himself a sight stone as well. There must be a good chunk of gold actually on Leona. About 1,000 gold to spend as he goes back home.
And I wonder what Gambit's answer to this is. Like, they want to try to get the mid tower, probably not going to happen against Gragas. Top lane, they can't go for 1v1s nor 2v2s. I'd almost feel like their one saving grace would be a snare into Varus ulti combo followed up by the Eve on bottom lane. However, W is going to read this, and they should send their jungle bottom. They're just securing the Booba for Lul now, so she's still fine on her own. But I don't see an opening for Gambit right now, other than the bot lane, and I feel it's a little too obvious, so World Elite has to be careful there.
You see, blue buffs being given over to both mid laners. Let's talk about those mid laners. A little bit of a lead there for sukiM on Gragas. 114 to 105 CS. The Fiend's Unholy Grail finish on both sides of things. Double Doran Dream though to the single one in favor of WE. So
pretty much neutralizes the mid lane. Both carries have a lot of wave clear on a 20% CDR item. As I said, it just ties it up. If none of them go aggressive, nothing's gonna happen in the mid lane. I think both junglers are gonna end up buying bottom, yeah. Ooh, the sweep misses. It misses the ward. And he shows anyways.
Yeah, Muro just coming straight through from that one. Saw that Gambit had in fact backed away from it, so probably had a bit of an idea that that ward was in fact in that brush, although as you said, the sweeper did go a little bit off to the side. Either way, WE now moving up through that Gambit jungle may look to make an impact on that mid lane against WeiXiao.
Yeah, they basically spill over the pressure on the bottom lane. They push up and roll mid. I want to point out the pink ward placement at both sides of mid as well, so they know that Diamond Prox will never be flanking them through the river. They know he can only come from lane, and this makes playing against an Evelynn so much easier. So I have to commend them on their pink ward placement.
Oh, they're coming in behind the turret. They're actually going to dive in there. Actually, we do see the Solar Flare missing. In fact, most things missing there. There is the Assault and Battery coming in. Wild Growth was used by WeiXiao. Conan got the HP to survive as well. Really well done by WE.
Barring a possible knock-up on a Zenith blade to cancel it, Alex played it as perfect as he could. So I think once he got into that situation, there was not much more he could do, other than maybe predict it, but that's down to his team effort, just not enough vision, not enough information. WE, you see, they're so far ahead that even missing the Solar Flare and not executing the gank to the fullest potential, however, Solar Flare missing zones him forward, which means he gets zoned into Gragas. It's basically a guaranteed dive anyway, so they're exerting their power right now, and Gambit's in a really tough spot.
Really tough indeed. They are already falling way behind in gold. 3,000 at this point. Not quite 15 minutes into the game as WeiXiao here is going to be joining once again. Can actually get involved from this one. He doesn't have his ultimate available though. Not able to lock anyone up.
Even if he did, he wouldn't use it because Black Shield would be too easy to use. And that's the strength of the Morgana. But they're going in.
There is the Black Shield coming down, but Edward already taking a lot of damage. Actually, Conan having to flash away. We see the diamond there for the counter gank. And actually, I think WE have to get away from this one. Not much that they can really do about that one. Edward surviving in the end as well. It's a nice kill back for Gambit.
And this is what I said before. This is the only way Gambit's going to get back into this game. It's counter-ganking on bottom, making the Leona Vi combo greed into a Black Shield, putting the Morg ulti, walk back, and counter-gank with EU, and Gambit executing that perfectly. And that was really close.
That was incredibly close. Like, ridiculously.
That's why you don't base near lane. Exactly, again, W has a lot of vision. They know exactly where you are at all times, except if you're invisible, aka Evelynn, and that's Gambit's saving grace right now, because you can barely outward an Evelynn. You can almost predict her, in a sense, with some pink wards on key locations, so you know she's not past certain areas, but even then you still have no idea where she is.
Oh, Alex, you are in trouble. There goes the explosive cast. We've got Conan coming around. There is a Solar Flare. Locks up Alex perfectly. He's used a Wild Growth, but it's going to do absolutely nothing to stop that one. CaoMei picks up another kill. It's now 4-1-1. So strong at this early stage of that Renekton.
Yeah, I really like what they're doing. They're using the advantage in different lanes to help out the mid lane and just get more advantage there instead of trying to tunnel on the bottom lane, make it less predictable.
And there is the helping hand of Gambit, helping that dragon going down. Piercing arrow and the dark binding coming in a little bit too late. And that is another dragon going over to WE. They are now 6,000. No, they're not. I can't count, Crebo. 4,000 gold in the lead.
It feels like 6,000 with the lead they have right now. Again, Diamond's coming out of bottom. This is the right call.
Going in towards WeiXiao. Is he going to actually be able to turn this one around? We see the Ru is in fact going in there. We do see the Assault and Battery going on towards Diamond. He's going to flash away. Damage coming on to all three of them. Edward going to pop his ultimate. And actually WE going quite low. But there is a dash in from WeiXiao. He picks up Edward, but he's going to go down. Piercing arrow goes through two of them. Picks up a double kill there.
Is that Genja?
Brilliant for Genja.
Yes, it is. Damn, that's so well played. This is Gambit being behind on lane. Really good reaction. Diamond coming in for the gank. Edward baiting it out. Suddenly Vi turns up, and they didn't expect that Vi to show up, but they managed that perfectly. They walk back, turn, walk back again. Sure, they lose one of them. WeiXiao goes in. I think WeiXiao plays this pretty well, but then Genja just mans up and snipes him later. So here's Eve going in. But they get surprised by Genja getting super chunked. Then the Vi comes in. Vi ultis on the closest target on the Diamond. I think that's really good again. Edward barely makes it out alive, but just look at Genja right now. He's walking back, he sees an opening, and he starts channeling in just a bit, and then he's just going to snipe both of them. And it's pretty beautiful. Actually, WeiXiao goes in first, and then he sees the opening. That reaction. Really good bind by Eddie as well right before he dies. Keeps him in place, and then just allows Genja to just line him up, you know, where I'm gonna shoot him. Just get both of them at one go.
Oh, Diamond actually forced here to take that blue of CaoMei coming in. You actually see the wild growth being used, but he doesn't care. Whimsy is used as well. CaoMei is going to pick up another kill. He's going down though. Shutdown goal goes over to Darien.
Plus assist. This is a really big win for Gambit. They get a shutdown, plus the assist goal on the shutdown, and they only lose one member without giving an assist to the enemy team. Again, Gambit comes out with a win. They're being very resilient here.
And call that last snipe what you want. May say a little bit lucky maybe going into that second man, but I'm going to say...
I don't think it's lucky.
Totally planned from Genja. He's now got an Infinity Edge, by the way. First item, first big item coming out for Genja. Infinity Edge on Varus.
And this is saying Genja, well, I'm comfortable playing this game. I'll get my lifesteal later. I'm just going to snipe all of you and come mid-game and have the perfect VIII item combination.
Oh, going in on towards Alex. There is a solar flare coming down and actually has to flash that one in the end. Conan got those boosts of mobility. He's pretty quick. You really have to use flashes when he's that fast.
Guy's waiting in the bottom here. He wants Genja.
Oh,
out of range for Black Shield.
Yeah, getting on towards Genja as well. Edward actually going to be the focus, though, in the end. WeiXiao is going to pick that one up, and Genja is forced to flash from that. We did see that sukiM did come down as well. This is going to be the second turret of the game for WE.
See, I think Gambit got a little lucky there. They could have both died. Genja was out of range for Black Shield. Edward would have dropped regardless. I think if I target the Genja there, they could have had 2 kills, but that's just minor details. Really good roam by WE, and they're catching people in jungle again.
Trying to have a look in now towards Diamond, but actually Ruo going pretty damn low. Actually has to back away. Darien is going to be right in the middle of them, does have his blood as well. That is going to get popped. Can he get in there for more kills though? Actually he's blown to pieces by sukiM, and now Conan being chased down by Alex. Bottom side as well. Diamond is going for sukiM, gets that kill. Conan goes down as well.
And WE is just trying to get too much in one go, and this is Genja showing up again. Double kill immediately, follows through the fight and gets another kill. This guy is playing so well. He's 5-0-0 without any lifesteal, or maybe just picked up his Vampiric Scepter, but he's just going to town on World Elite.
And we don't see that much Varus these days, but we see that Genja is definitely able to do, and we see that replay once again, and look how low Ruo went before things even got started.
I like that Darien comes from the side. He knows he has a revive. Basically, they clump up to Darien to try and get him, and then E flanks him. 3-man ulti. Alex goes back in after going out. Genja comes in with a double snipe, and this is all Darien. He jumps in. People want to kill him. He gets the revive. He wants to... Like, the people want to kill him again, you know. When you see somebody with a Guardian Angel or a Zillion ulti, you're going to group up around him, and that's a mistake, because it groups you up for AoE abilities, like the Varus snipe, like the Evelyn flank with the ulti, and this is Gambit. They're coming from all different sides and angles, and it's so hard to deal with. And given the fact that they were 4 to 5k down, and they're only down 1,000 gold, or 2,000 gold right now, it's pretty insane.
I see that Darien gone in for that Ravenous Hydra, so got himself Negatron Cloak and the Chamber, so going up to a GA. And that's just Darien, you know. You've got your blood well, but that's just not quite enough. You need a third life.
I really like the Gambit playstyle of picking up early Guardian Angels. On paper, it sounds so horrible, but when they play, you know, one guy goes in, you walk to him, 4 guys hit you. He walks out, you turn to another guy. He does the same, you know, going in and out. It's like multiple accordions working together. And then once you finally get somebody, well, he'll just revive, stall you for 3 seconds, jumps in again, jumps out. It's so hard to play against that when they play it correctly. However, if they make one mistake, well, you kill the guy, you kill him again, then you kill the next guy. So it's a very tricky style of teamfighting. With Gambit, it's definitely confusing World Elite right now, and it's paying off.
I see Golem's been taken away. Actually, Diamond coming across to that one, but doesn't want to get involved on the fight. And Darien's going to be feeling a little bit more confident now. Got himself that bit of armor, that Ravenous Hydra as well. Is still way behind in CS and kills as well.
Yeah, but given what happened, he actually managed to stay somewhat the same distance behind, if that makes sense. And whenever he died, he made it work so for his team. So he's been playing pretty well coming back into the game. It was all on bottom. Like, Gambit had that game pretty much lost, but the fact that they kept turning around those kills on bottom stalled the game long enough for Darien's Aatrox to scale a little better, and Renekton falls off to the mid game as well. So time is playing into Gambit's favor.
Speaking of time, Dragon is coming up here. Has now actually spawned in there. We see that both teams posturing around for that one. Actually, WE off to the side. Yeah, Diamond is going to be flanking. Will he be able to get in? There is a goalie put down by WeiXiao. Dragon is going to be pulled away from Ruo. Actually going very, very low from this one. Will he fall though? CaoMei getting involved. Edward is surely going to fall. CaoMei is able to pick up that kill, but that is going to be a 2-for-1 for now. Flash is coming in as well. WeiXiao going to be focused down. Darien gets a slow off. He can no, they've actually left him alone. They've got CaoMei there, very, very low. Darien waiting up to the side in case he jumps over. Genja is now godlike. WeiXiao is trying to escape. Darien dives straight in underneath the turret. There's the shield from Lulu, and that is the first ace of the game, going the way of Gambit, and they get Dragon afterwards.
Thank you, Gambit, so much for showing people how to play this composition. You see, Diamond was flanking him, and even though he got spotted, he got a 4-man ulti off. I think we're getting the replay right here, so I'll wait. 4-man ulti comes in. Okay, Darien's on your left side, Era's on your right side. You Vi ulti, but it gets countered by Black Shield. This is why you pick Morgana into Vi. Look at Diamond, full HP. Vi has nothing left. He walks back into the arrow almost, and this is just, at this point, the fight's over. I really like what Eddie's doing. He's keeping 2 people busy, dies for his team, while his team cleans up. Genja's on the left side, full HP cleaning up. Doesn't even need lifesteal. Darien's full HP as well. Diamond is really healthy, and they're just cleaning up right now. And this is amazing, the way Gambit plays this comp. They're not all coming from the same side. No, they're just zerging around. You never know who's coming from what side. And this you need really good communication to beat Gambit when they fight like this.
Yeah, so that final kill onto CaoMei, and then WeiXiao trying to back there cheekily underneath the turret. Big shield coming out from Lulu. Great fight for Gambit. Puts them ahead in kills. Puts them ahead now in gold as well. 41,000 to the 39,000 of WE.
And it wouldn't be Genja if it wasn't Genja, because he went after his Infinity Edge. He built a Zephyr. Because Genja. Anyways.
Thanks. That I was just going to say, give me your expert opinion on that Genja build. I don't think anyone's an expert when it comes to Genja builds except Genja.
Well, he wants some tenacity, I guess. Well, it works if you survive from crucial CC, but technically he still has that Black Shield for that. He gives him a lot of attack speed though, to work with his passive and just get as many of those procs on and procs them with the spells. He's playing real well, 7-0-1 for Genja. He controlled the early to mid game, especially for his team, but look at Darien right now, look at Diamond procs. They pull their weight, you know. Even if they fall behind early to mid to late game, you can guarantee that they're all pulling their weight. Even Edward's playing pretty well. He's working on his Mikhail's Crucible, and that's going to completely neutralize any effort Leona's going to have in this game.
Gambit right now stacking up around the Baron. Actually, Darien's going to get pulled in, and again the Black Shield is going to save one of them. CaoMei going pretty low. Varus ultimate goes in. That's going to lock up the entire WE team. First kill is going to come down on towards Conan. Diamond now on the killing spree. CaoMei trying to get away, but it's not going to work out. Diamond actually going ridiculously strong at the front. He's looking for sukiM. Doesn't quite get that kill, but Gambit get 2 kills plus that middle inner turret, outer turret, and they might get the inner as well.
Or they might just turn to Baron. This is why I love Morgana support so much into a Vi composition or a Leona, because if they look for a catch in the mid game, you just Black Shield and they get baited by it. And this is definitely Team WE not being comfortable playing against a Morg. He can't commit that far against a target when you don't have vision about what's happening behind the target if they have a Morgana. That Black Shield single-handedly turned that fight around because it lined them up for Gambit catching people out, and they're doing it again.
Oh, WeiXiao. Out of position there. I mean,
he has to try.
At this point, has to try really for that Baron, because Gambit already well into that one. They're gonna take it. 17-12 up in kills. 6,000 gold now is the lead for Gambit, and I said it before. Day 1 is not Gambit day. Day 2 and 3 where Gambit becomes strong.
I'm really impressed with Diamond's Eve. There's a reason people ban it out a lot, because his ultis are so spot on, and while they look easy, sure, they bunch up, he holds them until the right moment and hits 3 or 4 people every time.
And Conan just trying to wrestle some vision control back here for WE, because they've been losing out on that one quickly. 5,000 gold lead, 5,500 it really is by this point. Not going to be easy to come back on. We can see that Darien now has that GA in place with his Spirit Visage and that Ravenous Hydra as well. So, and this is where Darien feels his most comfortable. You know, it's low risk to dive in there, even on the turrets.
Yeah, the thing is, even if he dives and he gets killed, he groups them up, and whenever they group, they just really get screwed over by Gambit's composition. Now, earlier I had a hard time seeing what Gambit's out was, you know? Every game has an out, like one way for you to win that game. I have a hard time seeing what World Elites is. Yeah, Gambit's gonna siege, they're not gonna split push, but what are you gonna combat that siege with? Gragas has alright to good wave clear, but other than that, Leona can't really go in because of Black Shield, Vi can't really go in because of Black Shield. Even if they do, Lulu ulti pops, Darien will dive in, everyone will get an ulti lined up, you walk into a Varus ulti. I just don't see what they're going to do 5v5, and at the meanwhile, Edwards is just chaining out those bindings, and eventually one of them is going to hit, lead to poke, and they will have to drop this tower. Because Darien is so tanky, they can even backdoor it.
I have to ask as well, from the picks and bans, we see that Annie and Thresh not available. you pick up the Leona, it's going to be surely obvious that a Morgana's going to come in. And I say obvious, but you look over towards Asia, and they don't really have that support in Morgana. We are going to see them diving in here on towards WeiXiao. Diamond now going to be unstoppable. Wild Growth coming in. Everyone going very, very low. Killing spree for Alex. Genja right up at the front once again. This could be game for Gambit. Double kill for Genja. He goes 9-0-5 on VIII.
So this time Diamond Prox opens that result, he slows them, Darien jumps into the fray, and I believe he got the Wild Growth, and what a Wild Growth. 4-man leading to a surrender.
Surrender coming in here from Team WE, and Gambit do it once again. Rubbish on day one, brilliant on day two. We'll see how far they can go from this one. 28 minutes and 45 seconds. The win from Gambit keeps their dreams alive here at the Intel Extreme Masters.
And what a win it was. It was not just a simple Gambit stomp. No, it was Gambit falling behind. Everybody had written them off. Everybody thought, okay, Gambit, you just didn't show up today. And they do. They're so resilient. I barely even saw an out in that game. And they turned it around. They identified what they had to do. Leave top lane, leave mid lane, go bot lane, and try to somehow outplay against all odds. And they did. And just squeezed the life out of all the lead in the end. And just so well played by Gambit.
You can see there, WE disappointing, I think, from their side of things this tournament. I mean, 2 losses in a row. We've seen that IG came into this one, put up a stronger fight, although many have argued that Group B is the stronger of the 2 groups here, and it's kind of hard to argue with that one. Gambit yesterday got trodden all over by TPA. They're going to have a revenge game coming up next, though.
Yeah, I think they're going to be learning a lot from that game. Going to be an interesting preview, but probably leave that to the analysts later.
And speaking of the analysts, we're going to go right there because Quickshot, Deficio, and Froggen